Well, it's good to see everybody this morning. Got to see some old friends today showed up, and lots of new folks. It's fall, it's August, school is, I don't know if it's actually started, but a lot of the teachers have gone back. Folks are coming back from their vacations and getting back into their routines and schedules, and a lot of folks are looking for places to come and practice, places where they can experience the sacred. And so we're getting lots of new folks, so I want to welcome everybody that's brand new here at TBC, and of course also welcome to everybody joining us at home in our PJ Sangha from all around the world. And of course, you can see I'm assuming that everybody around the world wears PJs, but I mean, that's what I would be doing at home. So it's nice to have you guys here. We'll have to have a PJ day at the Sangha one of these days. I know, fun, right? So I don't know about you guys, but I have been so caught up and kind of smitten with the Olympics. They've been so interesting to watch, so many different and new events, and so many wonderful athletes and teams and things. So I know that's not everybody's deal, but I've been enjoying watching the Olympics. I was kind of wondering if, what if we had like Dharma Olympics? What would that be like? We'd have the Wrestling with Delusions event, the Samsara surfing event. I don't know, just more random babblings of Victor's mind. But as I was watching the event, I started watching the rock climbing event, which I thought was fascinating. And so I'm watching this, and while I'm watching it, the announcers started talking about this young lady, Yanya, I believe was her name, and she won the gold last time in this event at the last Summer Olympics. She won the gold. And so the announcers were kind of like going, gosh, I mean, she's already achieved the top. I mean, they were talking about, she might not have the drive and the, that because she's already got the gold, right? And they started talking about things like, where do you go after the gold? And it was interesting to listen. And of course, they're commentators. This is their job to talk about the event and things like that. But when they asked that question, what was so interesting for me is in that moment, my heart kind of instantly knew the answer. It wasn't even a head conceptualizing, intellectualizing kind of a rumination or a question. It was like my heart was already there for not only for these amazing athletes and teams that have achieved the pinnacle, the top. We could look at this in our own way as practitioners. Jack Kornfield had this great book called After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. So after the gold, right? What about that? After the gold, you've hit the pinnacle. For me in my life, I got the career job. I was teaching high school, got a house, got a little dog. I mean, I had it. I reached it. This is it. And it's kind of the same thing that happens for everybody, right? That's it. After the gold. But my heart knew the answer to this. And this came after many years of asking that question, is this it? I mean, what happens next? And so the next step after the gold is much, much more transcendent. In other words, we go from needing a reason to not needing a reason. We transcend, we go from the worldly to the sacred. There's an old saying in Buddhism that a bird doesn't sing because it can. It sings because it has a song. In other words, I used to play music in bands, and I would play guitar and do different things like this, and I got discouraged because, we weren't getting the right gigs or the right venues or the right nights or the right slots or the right billing, whatever, blah, 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 blah. All these reasons to play, right? And as a musician, for a large part of my time, the reason I played was for recognition, adoration, kudos, whatever, right? I needed a reason. When it all fell apart, the house, the marriage, the job, the band, when it all fell apart, part of that realizing my spiritual path and recognizing that this isn't about the content of my life, this is about the context of my life. All of a sudden I realized that I don't need a reason to play music. It's just what this form that we call Victor does. In the same way, none of us needs a reason to go to work, a reason to smile at someone, to hold the door. It doesn't matter what you do. It is the quality of the doing. So the invitation today is to explore this sixth step in the Buddhist path, and I have a little slide here for you. There's the Noble Eightfold Path, and the sixth step is wise effort. Wise effort. So the invitation today is to explore wise effort, or what is also known as samavayama, that is the Sanskrit or the Pali term for wise effort. And this is part of concentration. The Noble Eightfold Path is broken into 3 areas, and this particular area is known as wise concentration. So looking at wise effort, before we embark or begin in any endeavor, no matter what it is, making dinner, it can be anything, an Olympic medal, whatever the endeavor is, there are some questions that we can ask. 4 of them to be exact. Number 1, does this resonate with my heart? Now, in my family, we had a family of salespeople and retail and wholesale sales. And so growing up, my family was always like, oh, Victor, you should be a salesman. You'll make a great salesman, and you got the gift of gab and all this kind of stuff. And so I got into sales. In fact, I skipped college and just went right into sales. Hated it. Was not my thing. Oh, sure, I had skills and I learned skills and techniques, but I hated it. It was not rewarding at all. It was not resonating my heart. It's what was in my head. My head and my family said, oh, you should go do sales, make lots of money. But it did not resonate with my heart ever. It never did. And so for the longest time, I was at odds. My head was saying this, but my heart was saying something else. So does it resonate with your heart? Number 2, does it take advantage of and use my natural gifts and strengths? Does it utilize my natural gifts and strengths? Number 3, does it serve more than me? And number 4, and many of you may not have seen this one coming, but is it fun? Is it fun? And there's a lot more, there's a deeper teaching in that than just having a good time, okay? And we'll get to that. So sometimes members of the Sangha ask me about ambition. I've had numerous conversations with people about that. Ambition can certainly be a part of the process. Sometimes ambition can help us achieve goals, but ambition is a little bit more of a selfing in there. We kind of go from I to you to us through this process. So ambition can help us achieve goals, but it can also lead to a preoccupation with self. It can lead to rigidity and a depletion of our energies. So ambition can be a part of the process, but there's a bigger thing going on here, something much greater than just a personal ambition. But in the beginning especially, it can be a part of the process. Many strivers, people who are striving and efforting, feel like they have to choose between ambitions or give up when they are not the best or don't win the medal or the top ribbon. They're in it to win it. And you know, it's an interesting thing that as we explore wise efforting, there's a subtle belief in there that I've noticed. It's like if I don't strain and strive, I'm not really trying. That's a delusion. If I'm not experiencing pain, I'm not going to gain. Again, another illusion. None of that's real. There's this whole idea in Buddhism, this effortless efforting. When you are in alignment with your heart, when you are in alignment with your values, when you are doing what is ultimately, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. When you bring a sense of this can benefit all beings in all places, it becomes effortless. And you're not depleted when you come home at 5 o'clock or 5:30 at night, exhausted. And all of those kinds of things fall into that same bucket of perhaps, let's just say, not so wise efforting. You know, when we're struggling, striving, we're ambitious, and no pain, no gain, in it to win it, all of these kinds of things look great on a poster, but they're not authentic. And so all of these things can really deplete us. And the Buddha helped us out with number 6 here. Wise effort can offer us another way to enter this paradox without having to resolve it. With playful curiosity, with flexibility and awareness-based action, we can turn the wrecking ball of ambition into a pendulum of wise effort, effortlessly moving in the direction of our heart. So let's kind of take a look at an integrative or an integrative view on wise effort, where we combine both the sacred and psychology. So in Buddhism, wise effort is a step on the Noble Eightfold Path, and wise effort is described as the purposeful dedication of your energy towards what is wholesome and helpful, and abandoning what is unwholesome and unhelpful. So that's kind of the Buddhist approach to wise effort. It is very energy-centered, not head-centered. So bringing awareness to the subtle energies of the body and moving towards what resonates for you energetically, and what is wholesome and helpful versus what is unwholesome and not helpful. Now, modern psychology sees wise effort as rising to life's challenges with a growth mindset, taking value-based risks, staying present and open, and then savoring the insights along the way. So it's very process-oriented, and being present and aware through this process, which oftentimes has stumbling blocks and issues and challenges, right? So wise effort is welcoming good stress that bolsters your cellular and mental resilience, and practicing deep rest to prevent toxic stress, and to allow us to not be overloaded and being worn down through brain and body stress and depletion. So wise effort has two interdependent elements to it, okay? One is wisdom. Wisdom is clarity that comes from self-inquiry and self-examination. Taking the time to take the noble one seat and sit and be with what is arising. As we embark on an endeavor or a challenge or a new project, spend time in stillness and silence before it, during it, after it, as you're working with it. See if you can sense and note what is arising. And in this process, we are exploring what our true intention is. Is the intention to gain status and notoriety? Is the intention to get more money? Is the intention wealth and fame? Or is the intention to wake up in the process? Another cultural thing in our society is that it's the end that gets you everything that you're looking for, the outcome. You must die to go to heaven. Everything's based on this. In the Eastern traditions, it's the complete opposite. It's the process. There is no path to peace. Peace is the path. It's this next step. It's this next breath. And so wisdom. And then the second aspect to wise effort is the effort itself. It's applying your energy in just the right amount with flexibility and determination in the directions that resonate for you. That resonation, and I've talked about that several times, that again is bringing awareness to the subtle energies of the body. We can't do that by getting busy. We do that by getting still. So wise effort, and including these two aspects, the wisdom and the effort itself, being aware of the effort, how you parcel out your energies. Wise effort is about knowing where to dedicate your energy and how much to put forth. Choosing activities from your values that motivate you, that resonate with your heart, and you will find energies you never knew you had. These runners, they don't line up expecting to win or worried about losing. They're in this zone where running, there's no one running. Running just happens. Don't meditate. Don't be a meditator. Meditation is simply happening. When you are in this state of being, you are just being with all things that are. You are not different. We are just being together. So applying our strengths allow us to do what comes naturally. It is about being natural. And for example, if you have a personal strength in, let's say, social intelligence, you may find it easier to live out your values when doing things with others. So why are you stuck in a cubicle from 9 to 5 all by yourself? Or maybe you're at home doing stuff at home with no one else around you. And then you kind of complain about, well, this is great money, but gosh, it's just not rewarding. There might be a dissonance there. Is this really in alignment with your heart, with who you are? Hey, it makes great money, and it's easy, and there's no drama, but it's also not who you are. Your heart's moving you towards being with other people. That drama that you're avoiding is the same drama that will also be your path to awakening. Isn't that an interesting thought? And then finally, having fun, all right? Many high achievers put aside fun for a future date. Once they have achieved their goals, there's that outcome orientation, right? They're not process oriented. There is an achievement fallacy here. Dr. Rucker, in his book, The Fun Habit, mentioned that happiness is something you feel. Fun is something that you do. So we want to engage ourselves and bring an aspect of fun into everything that we do. We can realize that understanding, even Pema Chodron said that any positive energy that we put towards ourselves and others creates an atmosphere of love, compassion, and fun that ripples out and out and out, who knows how far. And so correctly understood, effort is an invitation to insights. That's why we call this vipassana, or insight meditation. The kind of effort we make in our practice and in our lives is communicating something. At times, it's communicating the mindset of the moment. Maybe that's doubt or fear or craving or aversion. Sometimes, the kind of effort we're making is communicating a more historical belief system on self-image that dominates our lives. However, our relationship to effort itself manifests. We are invited to listen to these communications. I think that we need to allow the practice itself to be the practice of freedom, to free ourselves from these limiting beliefs, from doubt and from fear and from the mindsets themselves, so that effort itself, by itself, becomes the path to awakening. That we would strive and struggle, notice that. Let our awareness shine the light on that striving and that efforting, and realize that it is this efforting itself that becomes the practice and the path. It is really important that there be a sense of joy in our practice. It's not that I have to, I didn't meditate yesterday, so I better meditate today for twice as long. Like it's a duty, like it's, a regimen, an exercise program, a dieting program. Fail or not fail. Again, this is all Western ideology, where there's an outcome, there's a goal. Our practice invites us to make this moment the practice. The efforting is the practice. Notice it. Where does it come from? How much are you putting into it? When do you put into this? So this whole practice itself, the invitation is that where can we bring more joy and fun into everything that we do? Joy doesn't mean that we just have pleasant sensations, blissful experiences, or happy thoughts. It is something much deeper than that. If we are going to be able to really sustain a vital and deepening spiritual practice, not only in retreats, but also in our lives, that sustainability will be rooted in the kind of joy that we can find in our practice, in ourselves. So, in everything that we do, checking in and asking those questions. Does this resonate with my heart? Is this bigger than me? Does this provide more than stuff just for me? And is this something that utilizes my natural talents and my natural strengths? And is it fun? One of my teachers used to say, if you cannot enjoy your life, then what good is spirituality? So thank you for sharing your presence and your practice with all of us here. Thank you for bringing your sense, your little piece of joy and fun to the practice in everything that you do, because our life is our practice. Thank you.